Hello and welcome to the second episode of my Rainbow Six Siege Operator Guide. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at Jack Estrada, aka Pulse. Pulse is a defending operator working for the FBI SWAT team, and he is definitely not an operator for the weak, and a big threat for the professional. He is a lightweight but fast moving operator, which is perfect for roaming and being a sneakier operator, especially with his gadget. Pulse in the right hands can be a deadly operator, as his special ability is a heartbeat sensor to detect enemies through walls from short ranges. Or to simplify things, literally wall hacks. His heartbeat sensor uses a ping-based system, so for every second it pings, and the closer the enemy is, the circle gets larger and larger, and the noise generated by the ping will be louder. It's great for getting cheesy kills like this one, for example. Pulse is not for the beginners. He is more for experienced players and great for professional players. And if used properly, he can be a big threat. Pulse should be mainly used for roaming, as his gadget can detect enemies through walls, which is great for flanking the enemy. But if Pulse cannot roam, he can be used as a supportive character, telling your team exactly where the enemy is. Also, here's a tip. When you're pulling out your heartbeat sensor, press 1 or triangle or Y to instantly pull out your primary, which if the enemy is dangerously close to you, it can save your life if you're fast enough to react.
I'm kind of stuck.
Pulse is supplied with strong weapons. His first one is the UMP-45, based on the real-life H&K UMP-45 or Universale Maschinenpistole 45, made by, you got it, Heckler & Koch. It fires the 45 ACP round, which makes it the strongest SMG in the game. Speaking of damage, it does 38 damage and can take up to 6 shots to kill. Because the gun fires very strong ammunition, H&K had to reduce the fire rate to 600 rounds per minute. The reasoning behind it is because they had to make it more controllable for longer sustained fire. In game, the recoil can be controlled fairly easily. The magazine capacity is 25 rounds, plus 1 in the chamber, and the reload is 193 for attack and 212 for empty reload.
Protect the bombs and disable the diffuser. Bomb diffusing devices.
Attachments are listed. For your information, I will surpass the suppressor, as you'll take an extra shot to kill, and the fire rate is already slow enough for an SMG, so use it to your own care. His second primary is the M1014. It's actually based on the Benelli M4 Super 90 combat shotgun, but it was renamed to the M1014 when it was adopted to the US military when they needed a semi-auto 12-gauge shotgun. It is manufactured by the Italian Benelli Army SPA, and it is gas operated and fires the 12-gauge buckshot, presumably double-lug buck, and damage is 42, but again the range is more important. The M1014's one-shot kill potential is around 12 meters. FYI, in my testing it's inconsistent, so that was my best result I found. Magazine capacity is 8 rounds, although in real life it actually holds 7 shells. I wonder if it's a mistake made by Ubisoft. The reload takes almost 6 seconds, with each shell can be interrupted taking about 0.88 seconds, and the first shell taking a second to load. Even though the M1014 is a semi-auto, the rate of fire is 200 rounds per minute. Hipfire spread is good enough. You can use a laser sight to tighten it up, but it's not recommended, and by this clip you wouldn't need it anyways, and the recoil is easy. Also, the M1014 is the third best shotgun in the game, followed by Valkyrie's past 12. And like I said in my previous guide, you should be using shotguns at medium ranges to use it reliably, and they're great for punching holes in the walls, so use that to your advantage. Attachments are listed, and like in my previous guide, for optics I will recommend a reflex because you don't need to aim much for shotguns. Pulse's sidearms are decent. The first one is the M45 Musoc. Based on the actual M45 Musoc, it is a modified version of the M1911 designed by the legendary John Browning. It fires the .45 automatic Colt pistol caliber, also designed by John Browning. Damage is 47 and takes up to 5 shots to kill. Magazine capacity is 7, and it takes a second for a tactical reload and 186 for empty reload. The rate of fire is, I'm not joking, 420 rounds per minute. I counted it manually, alright? Even though the M45 fires a large pistol caliber, the recoil is easy and manageable. So in the worst case scenario, the M45 is a great secondary if your primary is out of ammunition. His second sidearm is the 5.7, based on the FN 5.7 made by FN Herstal. It fires the unusual 5.7 by 28mm caliber, a very small caliber, but it's designed to penetrate body armor. And that's how the pistol got its name, by the way. Damage is 36. It is the lowest damage of all the pistols in the game. And unlike the M45, the 5.7 has the highest magazine capacity in the game, with 20 rounds in the mag. It is more than enough to kill an opponent. And it's also a fast firing pistol. In my testing, the rate of fire is 500 RPM, but I've seen cases where it's 600 RPM, so it depends on your trigger finger. And like the M45, the recoil is also easy to control. It even has more clear iron sights, so it depends on your playstyle. The reload on the 5.7 is 1:15 for a tactical and almost 2 seconds for an empty reload. And as I said in my previous guide, pistols aren't meant to be used as primaries. They're more for last-ditch defense or finishing off an enemy. And finally, he carries either a nitro cell or barbed wire. I will recommend the nitro cell, simply because it's a great choice for fighting off against shield users. Well, that wraps it off. Pulse is overall a strong operator if used in the right hands, and he is a great roamer with strong enough weapons and a very cheesy gadget. His level of importance to the team is 9 out of 10, because he can detect enemies through walls, and if used right, he can counter Blackbeard. I won't go into the details, as in this video I said everything what he does, and if not, then I'll make a separate video explaining how he can kinda counter Blackbeard. Overall, Pulse is a very dangerous operator that even the professionals have to be careful when going up against him, as he can detect you with his sensor and finish the job in a heartbeat.
In a life-threatening situation, the average person's heartbeat can be upwards of 175 beats per minute. A well-trained tango is able to stay cool, keep calm. Their heart rates can be 70 to 100 beats per minute. But by the time I'm done, that number goes down to 0.
Thank you very much for watching. Comment which operator you want me to do, and make sure to subscribe as it helps me a lot. And I'll see you later in the next one, so farewell.